Hi, this is Lori from the Pink Girly channel, and today I'm going to talk about and show you how I use my jelly plate. This is a video not for beginners because I'm not explaining what a jelly plate is or any of that stuff. That you can find plenty of those videos on YouTube. So I'm just going to let that be for right now, and I'm just going to show you what I've been working on and maybe spark your interest and or creative juices. So I've been working in little mini comp books, and I'm going to show you what I've done, but I'm talking about this size. They're real small. 3 by, what does it say? 3 by 4, 3 1/4 by 4. If you can get the ones that are sewn, have the sewn binding, just a regular little comp book. They're delightful. Okay. Sometimes you can get them in your dollar stores, but you certainly can get them on Amazon. I think they come in packs of 3 or 4, and they're really nice to have hanging around, especially if the grands pop in and they want a little book to play in. They're really sweet. Then you can get this kind of a composition book, which I didn't realize was available until really, I guess maybe about a year or so ago. So I haven't done anything with this one, as you can see, but I'm going to give that a go. And then you've got your regular size composition book. Now, this is not all exclusive or exhaustive. There may be other kinds, but these are the three that I have in my stash. Now, this has the vinyl side. Most of us are used to this kind of a cardboard marble look. And I probably have a few of those laying around too, but I've been using this one to clean off my brayer in between pulls. So you should, if you're not a beginner, you should be familiar with that. So I'm going to show you how I'm using this. When I first started to jelly print, a gal by the name of Kathy Berg, she has a channel called Kathy Berg, Kathy with a K, Berg. And she was rolling off, I think, in a magazine that she was using for collage and mixed media, if my memory serves me correctly. Um, but I'm also going to show you how, when I use some of the things that I use on my jelly plate, I roll it off or clean it off on a comp book or magazine, whatever you want. But this video is about comp books, so I'm rolling off in a comp book. And then when you go ahead and do that, sometimes you just get a big splat, of paint. So I'm also going to show you how you can pull a print in your composition book as well. And then when you get this all filled up, it's going to be a delightful book to work in for collage. See, now that page I kind of like. So I probably wouldn't pull on top of that. But like this one, where it's just pretty much solid, I might pull on top of that. The trick is to let these pages dry before you roll off onto the next page, because they stick together and then they tear and you can't really use them too well. So you might want to be mindful of that. So I'm just going to have this sitting off to the side so I can roll my brayer on it. See, give myself a little more room. And I'm going to put my mini here. And maybe I'll put this one over here to the left. And then I'm going to be using my two different brayers. One's, I guess they're both about maybe 2 inches. Let's say, this one's 2 inches. This one's maybe 2 1/4. All right, on my jelly plate. And of course, you can see they've been well used, but I'm using smaller because I want to blend colors. And I'm just using my 8.5 by 10, I think it is, jelly plate today. And then in the right behind me, I have assembled. Now, I've been jelly printing for a few days, because it's messy. And once you get started, if you have a few projects you want to do, it's, maybe better to get them all done at a time when you're making the mess. So I just put out some stamps that I like to use. Let me get this under the camera. Some are on wood blocks, some aren't. I've got some paint that maybe is not on its way out, but getting ready to be emptied. let's see what else I have in here. I've got some gouache in here I might want to use up, a sponge. I have a larger brayer. I don't think I'm going to use that today. And then I'm going to use, if any of you remember these Stampin' Up! Wheelies, I don't know what they call them. You can put an ink pad in those and they're really cool, but I saw somebody using them on their jelly plate, so I'm going to do that. So I just have everything that I might like to use today in a bin that's handy. It's sitting right behind me, and I can just grab out what I want. All right, so I was cleaning my plate earlier, so let me take this off and put that aside. And let me quickly show you some of my minis. So I've got my ceiling fan on and my papers are blowing all over. So this is a mini concept book that I just showed you that I haven't done anything. And now, to be honest, some of these pages may be inked or watercolored, but a large part of them are pulls from a jelly plate. And some of them are really cool. And then if you don't like them, like, see, this is kind of plain. I might want to pull a print on top of that. And then I thought, oh, the inside covers were getting messy. So I thought, well, what am I going to do there? Well, then I started to pull a print on the front. And I'm thinking about covering this with another piece of paper and then putting a new, maybe cloth binding on it. But when I pull today, I might try to just pull maybe some darker colors first and then do a second pull, and then all I have to do is put a new cloth spine on it, because see, it gets messy. So if you're a neater artisan than I am, that might work for you, but I'm pretty messy. So there's just a few pages. I have a few of these that I've been working on. So there's just a few pages in some of these that need to be still printed, and I'm hoping to finish those up, and then I'm going to start this new one to show you what I've been doing. So first thing first, I have a variety of paints sitting around my desk. I'm just going to pick colors. If you're not good with colors, you could check a color wheel. I'm sure there are online helps that you can get to help you with colors. Now I'm using Ceramcoat, Decoart Americana paint, and some, what's the other one I like? Some folk art paint. Now, as my paints get lower, as far as what's left in them, I leave them sit upside down. This is a pink seashell, so I'm just trying to use up some of the colors that I have. This one here is the Deco Americana. This is a coral blush, and I'm just setting up little areas on my plate with different colors. So they're kind of a peachy color. And I love my Hot Shot Fiery Red. This is just about empty. I'm going to put a little bit of this down next to my coral. Just give me a bright little pop. And then I'm going to move into, I think, a teal. So I've got some patina. This is a folk art color. Now you don't have to load your plate this much. I'm being an overachiever here. My problem is you don't want to get too much on it. Of course, if you've jelly printed before, you know that. So I'm going to put a little bit of this down. This one is Desert Turquoise Americana. And then I've got this Tropical Blue, which is very nice. Now, in the past, I would start mushing the paint around on my plate, but recently I watched a little video of a gal named Brigitte Koopsen, and she is very intentional with blending her paint. So I'm trying to be more intentional than I have been in the past. So I'm going to start light to dark, and I'm going to really work this pink seashell color in. And now I'm going to come back down. I didn't clean my brayer off because these two colors work well together. I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and then I'm going to go into my Hot Shot Fiery Red, and then I'm just going very lightly up into that pink seashell, and then I'm going to just run it off over here on my large comp book. Now you really can't see that, but I'm cleaning my brayer off pretty well. Now I'm going to come back down here, I think, and do my dark blue. So right now I'm keeping my color families together. You really can't see the bottom of my plate, can you? Let's see. Let me move my plate up a little bit here. See how messy I got? So I'm just blending those. Now I'm going to come into this lighter patina. I'm still keeping them somewhat separate. Now I'm going to clean my brayer off a little bit, and then I'm going to run these two together. And then I don't want to take too much off because I want to put some imprints. Now this is not perfect, but Gelli Printing for me is not perfect because I'm still learning a bunch of stuff. Once I clean this off, I think I'll straighten my plate out a little bit. I'm not sure I can. Maybe that's better if I do the camera. All right, so I'm going to pick out a couple of things. I'm going to use one of these little wheelie things that I mentioned earlier, and I'm pressing down as light as I can. And I'm also going to then clean that off on my book. See, and then I get a little bit of a design. I'm loving that coral and that teal color together. Let's see. I have a Harlequin, I'm calling it a Harlequin stamp that used to be on a block. I took it off. I'm trying to stamp in the dark area, and then I come up into the light area, and I can carry some of that paint. That gives me some light and dark. And then again, I'm going to press this off onto my roll-off page. And then I've got this one. Now, of course, your words are going to be backwards, but this is so small, you can't really tell most of the time. And don't forget to imprint some stuff off the side of your page. You don't want everything to be just in the center. Now, of course, cleanup on these can be a little fiddly. So if that matters to you, you might want to throw those in a bucket or a tub of water to keep that moist, so cleanup is not so bad. All right, I've got some numbers here, and they will be backwards, but I'm okay with that because I'm kind of layering. I'm not kind of layering, I am layering. So it's all kind of going to blend together. Let's see what else I have here. I should have dug out my, this one's kind of, to me this looks like a piece of cheesecloth. And I'm just wherever my eye thinks it might look good. Now, I've got a lot of paint on here. It may be too much paint. We'll see when I go to make the pull. And then I've got this little brick stamp, which is really fabulous and looks great on a plate. And then I've also got, this was a silicone, I think, trivet from the dollar store, and I cut it in half, and then I have some quarter pieces, but I always like to put a little bit of that. Oh, that might have been a little too much. I like to tap that around too. All right, so now I'm going to put those aside, and I'm going to do my first pull. Now, because I've got the 8x10, I'm going to start with my half size. This is 5 by 7.5. I'm going to go this way. Composition book. I'm going to go right in the middle. And I'm just going to press. Now I can lift these pages up and really get in there and press my paper down. Now I'm off the edge here, so that's going to be all white on the edge. I didn't engage that as well as I should have. And now I'm just going to pull up my whole book. See, I've got that white edge where I didn't get quite on the plate. But see, that looks cool, right? So now I'm going to let that dry. And then I've got other areas that I can now print. So I'm going to take my mini and I'm going to put my mini down. Give that a good press. You don't want to press, you don't want to wiggle. I don't know if that's a beginner instruction or not. Now see, when I have that white edge, I can come back and just press that down and grab a little bit more paint. And even though it's not totally covered, it looks cool. In my humble opinion, I'm going to go back with my half comp book and do the same thing. I'm going to grab just a little bit on the edge. And that looks cool too. So now I have the composition books that I've been working through. Let's see. See, now this one I just had some extra paint from a project and decided I wanted to maybe print on top of those. And it just so happens that this color is really going to work pretty well. Now, you may be thinking, what would you do with a mini book? But these are fun to do collage in. You could use it as a diary, a little memory book. But there again, these are acrylic paints, so you want to give these pages time to dry before you close them. I'm going to grab some of this teal down here. It may be me, but I think that's really cool. You could come in here and do a little collage, tell a story, you know, put some little pictures of grandkids or your kids, your pets, and, you know, it's just a sweet size. So I'm going to let that dry. See, now I still have some imaging and things on my plate. Now I want to be careful because of my roll-off comp. I really like that color and the design that kind of came up from rolling off my brayer and also stamping off my stamps and my objects that I used to create my original print, right? So this is kind of dry. I'm going to use my heat gun just a little bit in that one spot because I want to find a page in my roll-off book that I think this might look good on. So let me just flip through. I want to find something plain. I'm going to go back to this dark green and teal page. So I'm going to print on that page. So now this, since I've been talking and lifted up those other prints, this is becoming dry. And so now I want something, I think, this is where I struggle personally. I don't know whether to go with a light color or a dark color. I'm going to go dark. So I'm going to put a purple on top of the plate to pull, hopefully, the remains of what I already have on there. This is a Ceram Coat purple. Now I want a thin layer for this because I want to be able to pull up what is already on the plate. This is a judgment call. or as you might say, a crapshoot. Now I'm going to use my bigger brayer. This one is, let's see, 4 inches. But I really want to just move it around. I'm not going to put any other design. I'm just covering the plate. Now that's too much paint. So I'm going to roll that off on the adjacent page. See, when you roll that paint off, you get a clean brayer. And then I'm just going to start taking up this extra paint. Now I'm still learning, but I'm hoping that what I'm sharing today will help you or encourage you to get out your plate. Now I'm starting to see my imprint below, so I think I'm getting good at having just enough paint on there to pull a print. Now I'm going to try to put my comp book right where I need it to pick up some of that print. And I'm off just a little bit, but that's okay. Now, of course, I've got the other side wet because I was rolling off on that. I didn't think about that part. Now I'm going to try to get down a little bit closer to the page I'm printing on and really give this a good press. Wear old clothes because you never know. And of course, once acrylic paint dries, it stays where it is. If you get it quick enough, maybe some Blue Dawn might get it up for you. All right, now I'm going to pull. I hope you can see. I have a little bit of a glare, but that looks a lot better than what I started out with. So then I'm going to let this page dry. And that will be a really neat page to work with when I go to do collage. Now I see I still have some extra here at the top edge, and I don't want to waste that. So I'm going to find, and you know what you really should do, guys, have a baby wipe or paper towel right next to you, which I didn't pull that out. So if you get messy fingers, you don't want to pick up something and leave a big thumbprint, it's a good idea to clean that off. And then I'm going to clean off where I dropped my comp page. Okay. So now I'm going to find a spot in here where I might want, see, now this is all green and I've got a lot of white right down the center. I'm going to pick up some of this. And then put some on the page. And maybe go in the other direction. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I don't think that looks so great. Well, it may not be for you or may not be for everybody. But if you come in here with a stamp or some textured paste, put down some book paper and layer things, you got a really cool page going on. Now I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to do one more pull just to show you what I'm doing. Now let me switch it up a little bit. I really like how this turned out, guys. See, now this is just about dry already. It's just a little damp, but I'm loving that page. All right. So let me see what else I have sitting here. I love purples and greens together. So I'm going to put on the plate. Now let me move this back up so you can see. Now you can get plates in smaller sizes and bigger sizes, depending on your project. So for me, with a little mini composition book, and this is you know, the exact page of a regular size composition book. Now, I picked up the regular size composition book at the end of a school year, 25 cents, maybe at Walmart. You know, they just want to unload them. All right, that's way too much green. Just putting it out there. I'm going to grab a brighter green. That's more of a lime. Actually, it's called lime green, and that's a folk art color. This is Festive Green by Decoart. Now, if you want to do a particular project, say you're going for a shabby chic kind of a project, by all means, use those colors. Now, I have a little, this is called Peridot, and this is an extreme glitter, but it's not glue. It's a glitter finished acrylic paint. I haven't used this. This isn't even open. So I'm going to add some glitter. Now, you may not want to add glitter to your plate. A lot of artisans don't want to put glitter on their plate. So you have to make that decision. But for me, I like glitter. I like shimmer. And I put it all on my plate. Now, I make sure I pull it all up before I put it away. So in this, you know, I don't know how much of a shimmer that's going to give me, but we're going to try it. I'm going to do that. And I thought I had some lime, like fluorescent neon green. I'd like to have a little bit of that in there, but I'm not seeing that. I might have used that all up. Let's add, I've got a shimmer purple. This is an old Delta Ceram coat. It says pearls. So this has got a little sheen to it. I'm going to add a little bit of that. A little bit of that and a little bit of this. Oh, here we go. We've got some. This is a glow in the dark by Folk Art. And I don't know if it glows in the dark, but it's a really cool purple. I don't know if you can tell that. Sometimes the purple on camera looks very blue. And these are a little more translucent. So I'm going to put that down, see if I can get some interesting coloring. And this is Ceram Coat Purple. This is dark. So I'm going to put a little bit of that down there. I'm going back to my small brayer. Now my page on my runoff book, my page, I'm cleaning my brayer off. Those have dried. So I want to get to a clean place and have that ready to roll off my brayer. And I'm going to come back with my small 2-inch and just start covering my plate. And I like the design that I've been using for the most part, so I'm going to stick with the images that I have in my little work bin. And because these are all green, I'm just kind of blending them in together. I don't know how well you can see the sparkle down the center. I'm going to clean that off a little bit. And now I'm going to work in my purple, my glow-in-the-dark purple, and then my dark purple. And I'm going to put a little bit up here, clean off my brayer, and then I'm going to try to blend these as best I can, taking up some of the extra. All right, now I'm going to start putting in some designs. So I'm going to use one of my little wheelers. I have a hard time with these. I'm pressing maybe a little too hard. There's a learning curve with those. Of course, I've got a lot of paint on that plate. Go back to my tried and true, my Harlequin kind of print. Don't forget to clean that off whatever. And you can use a stack of computer print paper to clean your brayer off. Your choice. But when I was listening to Kathy Berg, when she mentioned that, I thought that was a genius idea, because while you're cleaning off your brayer, it's giving you another surface to then art in. Sometimes I have a hard time picking up my stamps. I tend to be a masher, not as gentle as maybe I should be. Going back to my number stamp. But you could get a paintbrush, the end of a paintbrush, and make designs, freehand designs. You just don't want to use anything that will cut into your plate, of course. Let's see what else I have here. I don't know how this guy will turn out. He's kind of a hieroglyphic looking little guy. I gotta put some kind of a handle on him. Yeah, you can't really tell. All right, let's see what else we have. Is this another little wheelie thing? You know what? I don't even know where I found that. But he looks cool on the plate. Now right here where I put the glow-in-the-dark stuff, there's not too much on the plate there. So that's probably going to end up being a pretty light spot. Now I had something the other day. I was making large circles, which kind of looks cool. Now, if you don't have a lot of paint on your plate, you have to move a little quicker than I am moving. I'm moving kind of slow. And I can't put my fingers on my little circle thing I was using. So I guess I'm going to go with a smaller rather than a large circle. Sometimes I just like to make little impressions of circles. All right. So now I'm going to go back to my half composition book. And I think I'm going to go to the back cover. So I'm going to go to the edge. And give that a pretty good press. Now I'm just pressing down. I'm not trying to wiggle. So right where I had that, like I said, right where I had that glow-in-the-dark paint, I rolled it out a little too thin. But see, that's kind of cool. So I've got that. Now I'm going to get my little mini. I've got everything sitting all around drying. So that dried very well. So now I'm going to do a double page. So I'm going to open that up as wide as I can and look for a good spot to get a print. And I'm going to really press down on the spine. And then I've been finding if I pick it up by the spine, I can get a handle on it a little better. So that really looks cool. I think I'm going to leave it that way. I like that white space there. I hope you can see it pretty well. I don't know if my camera's going to let me. It's kind of hard sometimes to get a real clear, but that's cool. I like that. All right, so I still have some pages in these other books. Look how many pages. See, I marked them all so I could easily go to where I need to make a print. So now I'm going to sop up some of this goodness here. Kill beans. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And then right up here, I think I've got plenty of... what I didn't think about was all those paper clips. Press down really well. So I got a partial, but I've got more paint down here I can pick up. So I'm just going to go here. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Doing some jelly plating in 3 different size composition books. Now see, I've got kind of a teal going on here, and I think if I print on this side, this will go with that teal. Let me see if I can pick anything up. Yeah, I did. So that looks nice. So then as I'm wrapping up, I'm just going to use a little bit of white on my plate here. See if I can get the rest of this up and use it in my runoff comp book. So I'm going to go back to my big brayer. And Gelli Printing is layering, doing all different colors, back and forth, layering. And what you might want to do is once you print something, you may find that you want to print on top of it again. Well, that's fine too. And of course, you know that you can do loose pages as well. This is just, I don't know. I just have been having fun with these mini pages in the mini comp book. Now see, this page is really wet. It's still wet from my brayering off. So I'm going to use the opposite side. And I'm just going to press down. I think I probably have a little too much on the plate. Look, I still have tons to pick up. Let me try it again. I think I'm going to look for a couple of dark spots in a couple of my little books here. Well, that's not dark. See, that's dark, but I really like that one, so I don't want to... let me do the back cover, because I can print on... See, I hate to waste what's there. See, now I can print something else on there. Let me try a cover. See, I had painted this with acrylic paint. Gosh, I've been messing around for a while with this one. Let me take that clip out. That's kind of cool. If I want it to match or kind of coordinate, I should pick up more. All right, so I'm going to end the video. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, leave a comment for me and I'll get back to you. And maybe you've done this. I don't know. For me, it was a new idea. And I'm just having a blast. So that's it. And don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. And I will see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.